actually a spy movie. Yeah, it's ridiculous to call it kind of a pure spy movie because who the fuck is getting tripped up by Bond? Like, you know who it is. He hasn't changed yet. Like, you can talk about the actors, that's all good, but if we're talking about within the universe of Bond, he actually hasn't changed. He just keeps fucking showing up. So what bad guy, what network are you in? What fucking shit ass fucking bad guy world leader network are you in? Where you guys don't even talk about the last guy who took down fucking some big ass fucking supervillain. Like, I think we would know.
Huh? He introduces himself.
Yeah.
By name.
He introduces himself, right? He introduces himself, but even if he didn't, like, seriously, if we were all fucking supervillain bad guys, right? And someone took me down, one guy. You guys want to talk about it? You guys want to be like, yeah, it's fucked up what happened in 30 clubs. I know, one guy. No, he had his own goddamn island. How'd that happen? I don't even know how he got to the island. Me either. One guy. You guys would fucking know about it. Some guy shows up in your casino, which, why do you have a casino? Why do you have a goddamn casino? Like, will you try to launder your money while also trying to blow up the world? Like, what the fuck are you doing? But this guy shows up, he's like, yeah, go ahead, just hit me up. And you goddamn pay for his drinks. Like, no one's even giving this guy a goddamn tab runner. What the fuck is happening with Bond? I don't even understand with Bond. Like, I can't even concentrate on what we were really talking about because Bond makes me so fucking incredibly upset at times. But at the same time, it's a great movie because you're never really supposed to take it further than what Ian Fleming was really trying to do. He's literally talking about a superhero from the 40s and the 50s, which exactly was that. So if you're talking about the archetype of who he was talking about, he goes through lengths to talk about who he's talking about. British gentlemen who were both secret agents and commandos, these top-level individuals who had the world literally in their sights, and that included women. So the idea of creating this guy who can literally walk into their shoes and look like, and I'm not even kidding, an American singer that I know none of us have ever heard of, Hoagie Carmichael, that's who Ian Fleming wanted him to look like. So that actually set the archetype of what he should look like. We know what he had in mind. So that sort of answers what Bond was always supposed to be. Yes, this alpha male of alpha male of alpha male. If you guys have known anyone who's in special forces, even if they don't talk about it, you know you're next to an alpha male. There's alpha males who like to walk around saying they're alpha males, and there's alpha males who literally have ran alpha males, and it's a difference. There's a giant difference. You can feel it. Right. So
the first rule of alpha is you don't have to say you're an alpha.
You really don't. You really don't. Yeah. Matter of fact, side note, I know a couple of guys that were actually Navy SEAL and did a few different tours, and also Force One Recon and Marines did a few tours. Now, the funny thing is, when they get together, yeah, they'll make fun of each other. It's a pecking order, and it's fucking weird because the rest of us like, okay, so you're talking about like less than 1% in the entire world, and they'll make fun of each other. But aside from that, if we're actually going to focus on what Bond could be, then I think also the next thing you want to focus on with what Ian Fleming was actually talking about when he created the character was the actual arm of a government. So with that being said, MI6, the entity, and the codename Bond were really just extensions, no different than a new type of piece of equipment for the government of Her Majesty, which would be obviously Great Britain in this case. So if that's where you go if you want to actually expand this. And frankly, that's actually why I would argue how the movies have really been working and why this guy can show up every single time. And no one's like, wait, that's the guy who just fucking stopped goddamn Pussy Galore and all them. No, stop him at the door. Don't let him in. Fuck that. No, stop that. I think what it is actually because the code name is what we should be paying attention to. 007. Bond is really just the name of the person he really wanted to make as 007. He literally talks about he wanted to have the most unambiguous name to go with someone who could be such incredible things. It's almost a direct quote. And he gives his fake Bond parents a fake name that are so goddamn ambiguous in the world of Europe. Like one's from Switzerland, heads up, Josh, and the other one's from Scotland, like both his parents. So Ian Fleming goes through lengths to make sure that really when we're focusing on actually the character that he's talking about, it's a serial number. So with that said, I think if Bond wants to actually improve and move forward, regardless of who it is, one, they got to start dying. Like you got to have Bonds in situations where like this 007 died, this next one comes in, which I think is actually how they're going to try and introduce the new 007 by saying the last one died. So you have to do that. And if it's going from a female perspective, I'm not saying that I don't want hate mail, but I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not going to speak for women. All I point out is that I think every person, woman or man, would appreciate a smart movie where it doesn't have to rely on overly simplistic alpha male you know what I'm talking about. Overly simple male archetypes that we all just go off of this, guy walking in, drinks, fucks women. By the way, unprotected. If you're going to talk about anything that didn't get called out in the 60s and 70s, this dude was just going around fucking like a sailor. And no one said a goddamn word. I think they probably could have been like, you might marry her. But, she died. No.
Crabs was scared of Bond, too. Like, they weren't getting that shit.
Like, oh, my God. Yeah. They're down there like, oh, my God, it's James Bond. Run away from that.
Run away.
So, I think they have room to basically do everything they want to do if they actually just went back to the premise of it, which was it's an extension, it's an arm of the government.
I think that's I think you nailed that as far as going to its 007, more so than it's James Bond, right?
Yeah.
It is a weapon of Her Majesty's government, that whole 00 branch, right? This sort of mythical, as you say, in this case, has always been alpha male, but what can be done with it, right? And these weapons that are sent in as the last line to stop these,
what's funny is, like, I don't know if they intentionally tried to do this. I don't know if the writers behind Bungie and Halo series actually went to Ian Fleming and started reading through his novels. I don't know, but actually that was one of the things that broke open the Halo series. It was always Master Chief. It was always Master Chief. It was always Master Chief. It was always who was behind the helmet. No one could ever really figure it out, but it allowed you to get into the character. And then right around the Halo 3 or Halo Reach, they started to introduce the idea that actually Master Chief was one of the Spartans. And the Spartans were the individuals that are pushing the war forward, not just Master Chief. And all of a sudden, then you get an array of Spartans who can show up at any moment and fuck shit up. That's really what MI6 should be. So if they want to move forward with Bond, sure. But they need to start killing them off. You can't keep having them in situations where no matter what, if you want to have a spy, cool. If you want to have a Jason Bourne, cool. If you want a commando, cool. But you can't keep putting them in situations where it's obvious they're going to fucking win. You got to start killing them off. Use the goddamn code name. Move forward. You can be whoever you want to. Also, I agree to a certain extent that you could also just make a whole new series. We really don't have to do this. No one has to have a new Bond. Like, it does not have to happen. I am totally with that too.
It is Hollywood. Like, they like what makes money. Like, in the end,
laziest bastards.
Yeah, but we go see it, right? We pay for it, though. I gotta say,
we in a while.
I haven't seen a new Bond in a while. The last one I saw the Daniel Craig ones. I like the Daniel Craig. I saw that one of those last ones. I didn't see Spectre in the theater. I saw the one before that, I think, in the theater. I saw
Spectre in the theater.
So, all right. Though when it comes to the situation, like the ridiculous Bond situation, my still favorite is Greg's favorite Bond, Live and Let Die. When he's down in Florida, right, and he's on a small island with a bunch of hungry alligators and a couple of crocodiles just thrown in there for fun, which you can't tell the difference. Right? And he just runs across their back. That's the best.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I just guarantee you there are a couple of Floridians going, "Yeah, that's your fucking watch. That you fucking do? Yeah, man, you just run across their back. They don't care. And as crazy as it sounds, YouTube some fucking guy down in Florida with an alligator. Okay. The shit these guys will do when they got to pull them out from underneath a car and shit. They're just like, just grab them here, just fucking tape up the job. Holy shit.
I guess if you deal with it that much.
Although it is funny when you see the guy who's a little too confident and realizes that Mother Nature is still undefeated.
Yeah, in the long run,
Yeah. Like there's a clip of this golfer who tried to. Oh no, sorry, that was Price is Right.
That's you're thinking of you're going to Happy Gilmore?
No, I'm saying like what's his name? God, I can't.
Bob Barker?
Bob Barker. Yeah, he literally tried to do that with an alligator, and he got bit.
What the fuck? Dude, I love Bob Barker, but come on, man.
Wow.
Not everyone is built to wrestle an alligator. That's all.
No, I mean, when it comes down to it, I did love him beating the shit out of Adam Sandler, and I wish, and they
Price
did another
is wrong,
one.
Bitch.
Price is wrong, bitch. And they even did another thing later on with him. Like they did like a little short with him in the bed, with him in like a hospital bed. And he wakes up and starts beating the shit out of him again. So God bless him for that. Cause I know Adam Sandler, New Hampshire boy, but kind of notorious like that, we're fine watching him get the shit beat out of him. And I'm assuming he's not going to listen to the pod. So who knows, maybe we'll get hate mail from Adam Sandler if we do, if we play our cards right. Somebody knows him. There are a couple of, being from this part of the country, we only have certain famous people that, everybody seems to know. And from my generation in New Hampshire, everybody seemed to have gone to high school with Adam Sandler. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
I did not.
No,
I worked with someone who went to school with Affleck and Damon.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the Cambridge boys, then I'm taking it. Or at least, I'm going to try and do that. If you're from Hudson, Extreme. Even if you didn't.
My brother was friends with Nunu Betancourt.
Yeah, of course he was. Of course he was.
Yeah. I remember one time he was like, Sean, I was hanging out with Extreme. I was hanging out with Nunu. I'm like, who the fuck?
Everybody got drunk with Nuno Betancourt. If you were born between certain years in Massachusetts, everybody has a story. But, for our younger listeners, check out Extreme and then keep moving on.
They had a good 3-song run. I'll give them that.
They did. But, I kind of lost them on Get the Funk Out. That was kind of it. But
no, you didn't. Don't lie. No, you didn't.
All right. Okay. I got a little excited about it. But, let's, we don't like to talk about that period in my life. I had very long hair. I thought I looked cool. I had a ponytail. Yes, that happened. That's no bullshit. Yep.
Of course you did.
Of course you did. You were a dumbass white boy in the late 80s and early 90s. Of course you had a fucking ponytail.
I wasn't going with the race element. I was just playing out knowing you, Josh. Of course you had a
absolutely, man. Yeah. Shit, yeah. I thought I looked hot. No.
Looking like an evangelist.
Going back to my wife. She was like, oh. She was like, oh, thank God I got to you when I did. Oh God.
The guy I knew in the 80s who listened to the most hardcore shit was whatchamacallit, the most religious, devout Catholic kid you ever met. Hey. Well, he came from that family. He wasn't, but he came from that family.
No, they always are. All right. But just in the interest of fairness, do you guys want 5 minutes? Because some of what Brother Greg was saying earlier on, I could see was like RaShaun was ready to jump in there. And like he had the folding chair. He was up on the third level of the ropes. I'll give you guys 5 minutes if you want it. I don't know if you want it, but did you want to rebut Brother Gregory's principles on objectification, or are we gonna let that lie? Are we just gonna
look? I already put the disclaimer out there, so if we're getting hate mail, at least include the fact that I pointed out that's not the definition. Although to be fair, the second definition in there is of thinking of things in an abstract direction. So when Greg's talking about like we objectify death, don't normally put it in that context, but it fits part of a definition. So there's not a whole lot. I was just pointing out, I'm not here to speak for women. I think that's pretty dangerous. I'm not here to speak for, frankly, all men. We're talking billions of people, and I'm not going to go with 3 people that I talked to. I don't know if that's enough that scientists would say would be strong data.
I just want to take a moment, and I just want everybody to just look with some serious. That was some seriously calm and cool and collected 3 of clubs right there. That was pretty impressive. We saw some Donald Duck arms getting warmed up over there, folks. You can't see it. We're on Zoom together, but man, yeah.
But like I said at the end, Greg made some pretty salient points at the end. I mean,
this is why I like to convene these meetings. I love it because.
But hold on, Fig, sitting there acting like you got no skin in the game. Why is it 2 on like me and Greg on each other. Don't you have something to jump in
Oh,
on?
I definitely do, and I definitely will put in. Here's where I'll get controversial and going back to it.